what do you see happening? I mean, we are in a significant transition all over the world, particularly in your part of the world, in the Middle East. You've got the Arab Spring. You've got people saying, enough, I'm no longer going to be subservient to the system. You got, 40, 50% of the people under the age of 20 not working. That's all going to change. How do you see that, not only in the Middle East, but all over the world in terms of this concept of commerce?
Yes, actually, that's why I came here initially a few years ago after living about 18 years in San Francisco. I came here to explore what they call in the Muslim religion Sharia banking. They have a certain kind of Muslim economy and banking that is flourishing. That, funny enough, most people understand it or they know about it from the point of view that there is no interest, and every business bank, they have to partner basically with the people who loans money from them versus paying interest to them. But there is so much more. It is really a holistic approach to business that includes everything from making money to charity to ecology to education and on and on. So while I was doing this a few years ago, suddenly all those, revolutions, as you call them, is starting to happen right and left, which is something when I left the Middle East when I was 18 years old to come to study in the U.S., I was one of those guys who I used to go out in the street, demonstrate, but then, suddenly for 40 years, the dictatorship took over, and people lost their freedom. People lost their human dignity. People lived in fear. And what happened recently, country after country, to see all those young people who refused what their parents and great-parents submitted and accepted, and go out in the street even, martyring themselves for saying, no, I want to be free. I want to have my human dignity. I will not anymore live in shame and pain and humiliation. It is important for me. Everybody is important. We are all one. And that energy became a resonance that swept the whole Middle East. And with that, they realized that their education system, the reason why they have 40% unemployment in the youth, is that the education system was geared to create bureaucrats and public servants, because the government is the dictators who actually appointed everybody and hired everyone. And, of course, there is a time where they cannot hire any more people. But those people, those young people, they were not learned about being entrepreneur, being artists, being creative, being visionaries, being scientists, and so on, so that they can really create for themselves, being businesses and employment and so on. So from one side, the economy, the lack of jobs, having the highest unemployment in the world, having, there's a joke on Al Jazeera TV where the Arabs only open their mouth at the dentist because nobody could open their mouth out of fear of being, killed, And so between that, the level of lack of business and financial opportunities and poverty mixed with unemployment, and then hit them with the fact that they had no freedom, they had no dignity, they had no, they reached a stage where it didn't matter anymore and they just blew up. It is really beautiful to watch this. I've been, tweeting and blogging and every day just really supporting this, dreaming it first in my mind and doing my inner work, to protect all those young people on one side, on the other side, really trying to educate people. And what happened, as you said, it's happening all over the world, because what happens is in the Middle East here, that resonance of real freedom and real dignity have impacted, European nations and America in many ways. And most people are maybe not always listening to the news and so on, but let's say a country like England. England has been supporting all of dictatorship for the last 40 years, and so most of Europe and the U.S. And now they're feeling kind of shame, like, what? How did we do that? How could we thought we left imperialism a long time ago, and now we're doing the same thing. So the Prime Minister of England came up last month, and he said, after discussion in the Commons, which is the Senate there in England, said, that's it. From now on, England will never betray its character for a business deal or even its own security. Character and integrity do count. We'll never do that again. Switzerland came up and said, we will never take any one of those thugs or any one of those dictators' money and put them into our safe and secret bank account and then have the people come look for them, after the dictator is down. From now on, we'll make sure that this money belongs to the people and not belong to. So it have shaken the integrity and the character of the foreign policy of all those countries who only matter to them the bottom line. What do we get? Do we get oil? Do we get this? And even if we have to compromise our character and integrity, we talk about democracy, we talk about freedom, and we keep telling those people in those countries, you need to have democracy, but then we support their dictators, by financially, military, and so on, So it's really beautiful to watch what's happening here. Of course, there will be chaos, and people are afraid of chaos, but chaos, as you know, always turns into order. The old system has to crumble, and the new one will rise from it. The Middle East and the Arab world will move on with the West to a common point of really higher level of evolution, of more of a conscious evolution, more of a higher level of character and integrity and compassion, supporting each other. I have really great hope for what's happening in the years to come.
Yeah, that's terrific run out. And, and one of the things that I find so admirable is this level of standing up, even though on one hand I have nothing to lose, so I'm going to stand up and state my position. But there's a level of courage that is clearly being demonstrated in the Arab countries that is so solid that the rest of the world is watching. And I think it's giving many people that sense of themselves that I can do this too, in their own little way, whatever it means. Yes. If they can do that, I can do that. And that's what this shift is that I'm watching.
That is really so beautiful, beautifully said. That is true. I missed that in my conversation, that there's a new level of courage, there's a new frequency of courage and passion that is being birthed, and that is impacting everybody everywhere, even individuals or beyond countries and nations. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.